shoulder season as a major area of concern. And that's why I believe this Stay and Spend initiative will be a much needed support for them for that shoulder season.
And it's 21 years tonight since Reined Murray was last seen alive. The Dublin schoolgirl was stabbed on her way home from work in Dunlera on September 3rd, 1999 and found dead after midnight. Gardaí say they have no prime suspect, simply because they haven't been able to figure out why someone would want to kill her. Detectives say anyone who might be able to explain why she died may unknowingly be shielding a killer. It's 9:02.
News Talk Weather.
Thanks to the AA. For great value home insurance, go online to theaa.ie.
Mostly dry tonight with clear spells and only isolated showers, but it will get more rainy in the northwest towards dawn. Overnight lows of 8 to 12 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
The Football Show on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power, as obnoxiously passionate about soccer as Frank Lampard after the final whistle. Gamble responsibly. See dunlewy.net.
I'm prepared to do anything I can
well,
to
do
play
it
for my
then.
country again.
Do it then.
What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it?
Why should an honest answer be a mistake?
How can a modern day manager not have a mobile phone?
Why should he?
It is the first football show of the Stephen Kenny era, and we start the show with news of a goal from Sofia to the home side. Bulgaria have gone in front. Some shocking defending from the Republic of Ireland over the last few minutes. Bojidar Krayev with the goal. The Irish defence cut apart so easily, somehow found acres of space between the two centre halves and slotted the ball past the bemused looking Darren Randolph. Republic of Ireland, by and large, have played quite well. They've certainly had the better of the chances, just had another good one there. A lot of Ireland's best play, even though Callum O'Dowd has played really well on the right-hand side, a lot of good chances have come down the left-hand side. And Aaron Connolly brought the ball to the end line, drilled it across, 4 Irish players rushing onto it, but none of them could get on the end of it. And Ireland trail by 1-0 in Sofia. And they only have themselves to blame. And we've seen a few of these chances for the Bulgarians. Ireland stretched very wide, a lot of gaps in the middle, and they just cut them apart.
The other chances have come from the fact that they've, Bulgaria have sort of caught us a little bit on the counter-attack, big, long, diagonal 50, 60-yard passes trying to stretch us. But on this particular occasion, we had numbers behind the ball. We had a very good shape, our back four. The problem was just big gaps there. I'd say there was probably 15, 20 yards between John Egan and Duffy. And Krayev was very clever to kind of sneak into that little gap. It was a lovely ball from Ivanov, a little slide through ball right on the ground, delivered a pace into his feet, good touch, and he's got a shot on goal. And Randolph's face when it happened, he looked like he was a bit bemused by it. So that's been the danger in the first half, the fact that we're getting a little bit stretched and we're not kind of closing in them gaps quick enough, as quick as we should be doing. But how we respond is important. We've responded quite well. We've created another great opportunity for Alan Connolly down this left-hand side. Ball across the box. There was 2 or 3 Ireland players coming in. Just a little bit ball played in too quick a pace to get somebody on the end of it. But how we react is really important.
Yeah. There was a few mistakes in the build-up from Conor Hourihan. James McCarthy in that deep role. We've been critical of him already tonight. In possession, he was just running around like a headless chicken a bit, trying to cover too much ground. Didn't have any support in the midfield at all there.
Yeah, no, I think that's the biggest risk of all of this is bringing back James McCarthy back into it and maybe putting too much pressure on his shoulders. For me, it just doesn't look to be doing it at the moment. And I would say again about Jeff Hendrick. Looks a little bit confused about what he wants Stephen, or what he wants, or what Stephen wants him to do. So look, but to be honest, I mean, you can't solve all Ireland's problems in 45 minutes or even 90 minutes. I think Stephen will take a few things away from this and he'll probably try to recorrect them. But most importantly, it's the 2 games really that we'll be able to judge where we're at the moment, not just tonight.
Yeah, at the same time we have to assess the game, and defensively Ireland have looked very open. So we want, and this has been the great debate, we want to see Ireland on the front foot. We want to see them getting in possession of the ball, creating chances, looking like they might score goals. Remember, the last campaign, 8 matches in a group including Gibraltar, and Ireland scored 7 goals in those 8 matches. So the one side we are seeing is that they are looking a bit more of a threat in an attacking sense, but they're also looking wide open at the back.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it. You said, like, sometimes I'd almost want to see us play like that. I'll take that hit, like, if we concede maybe the odd goal from playing expansive football like that. But as long as we, there's intent in how we play, I think you can stop goals like that. There's no doubt you can stop goals like that and continue to play the way we've been playing. Like I say, it wasn't a case that they've split us open on the break from a 50 or 60 yard diagonal pass. It's actually come from Bulgaria had a little bit of possession. We had everyone behind the ball. We were definitely stretched a little bit more than what we should have been, and that's certainly something you can address. But I think the key thing for us at the moment is that we continue to be brave on the ball. We continue to try and pass. We continue to try and break it forward at pace. And there's no doubt about it in the likes of Aaron Connolly, especially tonight, and O'Dowda, we've got a real threat and we can break forward pace. Having a look at the goal again, it's a lovely ball in from Ivana, but when you look at that gap between Shane Duffy and Egan, it's too big for my liking. Your two centre-halves shouldn't get stretched as far wide as that. So that's something that we definitely have to address.
Pretty heavy challenge on Adam Ida there. Looks to be in a bit of pain. 65 minutes gone, Bulgaria 0, the Republic of Ireland 0. Ireland have had over 60% possession in the game in the opening 25 minutes. It'll be interesting to see what changes Stephen Kenny does make. There's obviously going to be some fitness concerns around some of the players in terms of getting a full 90 minutes in, but we'll see how he responds as Ireland try and take something from the game. And you would say, going on the first 65 minutes, they do deserve at the very least something from this match. But these are the questions that are going to be asked of the Irish team. Just to let you know some of the other scorelines in the other game in Ireland's group, which is Group 4 of the Nations League. It's still scoreless between Finland and Wales, which will be a good result for Ireland. Finland come to Dublin on Sunday. We'll have full live commentary of that game from the Aviva Stadium, so if you're struggling to get it on the television, do tune in on Sunday. Myself and Stewie will be across that one. In League A, which is the top group, it is 1-1 between Ukraine and Switzerland. The big game of the night, I guess, for the neutrals around Europe, unquestionably, is the match between Germany and Spain. Germany 1-0 up in that game. Timo Werner, Chelsea's new signing, with the goal there for Germany to give them the lead over Spain. Elsewhere, Russia 1-0 up against Serbia. It's scoreless between Turkey and Hungary. Moldova 1-0 up against Kosovo. No goals between Slovenia and Greece. And 1-1 between the Faroe Islands and Malta. It finished scoreless between Latvia and Andorra earlier today. So, listen, maybe unsurprising, there's not a huge amount of goals in these games. We saw this in the Premier League as well when football came back. It took a while to get going. Ireland on the attack. Jeff Hendrick, quick feet on the edge of the area, and like he did in the first half, similar position, slid it straight through the middle. Nobody, unfortunately, from an Irish point of view, had actually made the run. But again, good attacking play. Enda Stevens right up with the attack on the left-hand side. Just lacking that little final bit of quality at the moment, Ireland. Adam Eade has done well, certainly in that role you want, where he's holding the ball up and getting people involved. Just hasn't really had that poacher's instinct so far to be in the right place at the right time. Yeah, and I think he needs to build a relationship with, whomever is playing in midfield. Like, I mean, John even mentioned that the service up to him hasn't been wonderful, hasn't been consistent. And for a player like him, you kind of need to know what kind of pass is going to come from what kind of player. He's only new in the setup, so that's a relationship that he will need to certainly develop. I mean, some of our approach play has been really good. What the Bulgarians are doing now is they're just throwing numbers behind it. They're just clustering everyone into that central area, and we're kind of getting caught up a little bit like, I don't know, you can remember Arsenal of old sort of trying to play little ticky-tacky stuff around corners, and it gets quite complicated when you do that. I think when things get so clustered centrally, you just need someone to get their head up and play a slide pass wide. On that occasion, Matt Doherty was an option for Hendrick, but talk about Doherty then, because that was the big decision, I guess, dropping your captain, a player of the experience of Seamus Coleman. Haven't seen a lot of Matt Doherty in the game. I think a lot of the play has gone down the left-hand side, Nathan. I think I was saying to you in the first half, I felt that a lot of the play seemed to be going down that left-hand side, and maybe this second half it might offer a different dynamic. It hasn't really turned out that way. It still continues to come down this left-hand side. I think McCarthy is tending to favour to go that side, probably because he's naturally right-footed. I'd like to see him get turned out and maybe get one switched out to Doherty. You mentioned the fact that Doherty isn't the most vocal of players in the world, and other players might say, "Listen here, get it out to me," But I think these are all things that we're going to have to iron out. That whole dynamic of the team is something that we still have to continue to work on. But I'd like to see him getting more involved, there's no doubt. Yeah, and I guess it will beg the question, and Sunday's at home, so maybe it's a slightly different scenario, that if he's on the back foot, as he's been for a bit of the game, or certainly not getting into the attacking positions you'd associate Matt Doherty with at Wolves, are you better off actually having just the solidity of Seamus Coleman and the leadership and the experience of Seamus Coleman in that right-back spot, who can maybe organise things a bit better?
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously going to be a debate, an ongoing debate, and it's not going to go away because you have just such quality players in that position. Robbie Brady, it looks like he's going to come into the fore now. But just to answer your question, I think at the moment Doherty is playing at a very consistent level. James McCarthy's actually come off there for Robbie Brady, so that's a left footer for a right footer. I wonder, will that change the dynamic now? Will you see Matt Doherty come into the game a little bit more now? Maybe Robbie Brady's come on under the instruction to do that.
It looks as though Conor Howerton has maybe gone into the middle in place of James McCarthy in that more central role.
Yeah, but I'd say you might see a little bit change of play. A lot of the play has gone down this left-hand side, and I don't think we've utilised Doherty as much as we possibly can. Don't forget, he's coming from a full-back position, Nathan, so he can only make runs based on how the play is, how the play is developing on the other side of the pitch. So he can't just willy-nilly make runs into the box unless he knows something's going to come from it,
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that and see. Maybe there might have even been a bit of a change in system for Ireland as to whether will they go with a 4-2-3-1 or is it just going to stay the same with Howerton stepping into the centre in place of McCarthy. Ireland trailing by 1-0 if you're just joining us. 20 minutes remaining in this game in Sofia. It's still scoreless between Finland and Wales as well. Jeff Hendrick has had a couple of bursts. One of Ireland's best passages of play in the game right before half-time. He was the one who just managed to put the head down, shrug off a challenge, played a nice little ball with the outside of his boot down the left-hand side. But it's probably been a somewhat typical Hendrick performance. We haven't seen enough of him.
Yeah, I think in order to get Hendrick into the game a little bit more, you'd like to see that service up to Ida to be better, because you would expect Hendrick to be the next man in for when a ball comes back. But that hasn't been the case too often in the game. I think we've tended to go down either side of Ida, and predominantly down the left-hand side where Connolly has been. I mean, he's been a real threat, and then maybe that's the reason why we've been attracted to that left-hand side, is because Connolly has been such a threat from very early on in the game. He's created chances for himself, and he's been a bundle of energy and a real threat. You can see every time he gets on the ball, he's attracting two Bulgarians towards him, and he's so direct that he nearly strikes fear into the defenders' minds once he does get that ball. But I'm even already after the change, we're even starting to see this ball go down the right hand side an awful lot more often, seeing Matt Doherty come into the game a little bit more.
Yeah, he's just pushed off the ball there and he's gone down. No free kick. The referee has been about all over shop in his decision, then gives a free kick away as Robbie Brady chases down. Looks as though he did enough to win the ball, but gives away the free kick to Bulgaria right in the middle of the pitch. Just on the Matt Doherty debate, Kevin Kilban, who's watching over in Canada, was just tweeting about it and said he would have played Seamus Coleman. He said Doherty's played virtually no football in the back four, top level. Excellent player, but it's very different for him. Coleman a better right back in a back four.
But, I mean, when you look at the game, has any, have the Bulgarians asked any question down that left-hand side? They haven't really, have they? So you'd think that it's a game to kind of get somebody forward, play Matt Doherty in that position and see if you can get him a bit more advanced. It's interesting, Stephen Kenny said before the game, he was asked a question by Sky Sports, what his thinking was behind playing Doherty ahead of Coleman. He effectively just said that he just felt that on form he just about got the nod, and he reiterated just about. So obviously, politically saying the right things. He's not closing the door on anybody, and I presume that's going to be a regular question for Stephen Kenny, and it's something that he'll have to deal with on a regular basis, unless you can fit both players into the same team, which there is that realms of a possibility if you go with a back three.
Go with a back three, or could you play Matt Doherty in the position Callum O'Dowd is playing?
I think he could.
On the right of a front three, almost.
When you look at Matt Doherty when he's at his most comfortable, it's very advanced. He's a modern wing back. He's not an advanced thinking full back. He's an out and out wing back, and tends to be at his most comfortable when he's playing in that sort of final 40-45% of the pitch, and sometimes even coming inside rather than staying totally wide. Callum Robinson's just come on.
One of the issues that Stephen Kenny faces as well is like the same issue that all recent Irish managers have faced since Robbie Keane retired. where are the goals going to come from?
Yeah.
Shane Duffy is the top scorer in this team. He has 3 goals. So none of these attacking players, unsurprisingly consider them, quite a few of them are inexperienced, have a tradition of scoring goals in competitive international games. Shane Long is on the bench, but again, has never been one to fire in a goal every 2 games. So Ireland have created chances tonight. They need to find some sort of a cutting edge. They need to get used to scoring goals on a regular basis. Is that something that should just come naturally because they are, looking at tonight, it seems going to create more chances?
Yeah, I think the thought process is that we move away from this single man up front and then get support to him. I think the thought process here is that we start with 3 up front, and that he'll constantly speak about this, getting pace in his attack, and that you're constantly asking questions of whatever back 4 or whatever back 5 you're playing against, because ultimately, chances are going to be created, but it has to be consistent, it has to be fluid, and it has to be at pace as well.
Offside flag up against Adam Ida there. Ireland have made a second change. Callum O'Dowda has been replaced by Callum Robinson. O'Dowda, probably Ireland's best player for the opening 45-50 minutes, just drifted out of it over the last while. Again, 15 minutes left. It'd be majorly disappointing if Ireland end up losing this game, having created so many chances and having had so much possession of the ball and being on the front foot for so much of it. But definitely some promising signs there. I guess we all need to check ourselves a little bit. If Stephen Kenny wasn't the manager, if we hadn't talked it up so much, would we be quite critical of aspects of this? Considering, take Mick McCarthy's first game in charge over in Gibraltar, we weren't giving him any leeway.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I've always been, I've always said, Nathan, that it's very easy to be critical of the result if you don't play well as well. I mean, you're not given an option. You have no positive to take out of the game. But when I think people are very informed now on the game. It's not a I'm in here analysing this because I played the game. But that means nothing anymore because people are so well informed.
Don't say that, Stewie.
People are so well informed.
You still can give some insight.
They're so well informed on the
10
game.
10 o'clock, Stewie, and you will say something interesting.
What I'm trying to say is that people aren't idiots when it comes to
they're not. They
idiots.
watch a lot of football.
They watch a lot of football and they know how the game works, so they can see the intent. They know we're trying to change the way we're trying to play football. It's a cultural change. It's a tactical change, and above all, it's a psychological change, not just for the players but for everyone watching as well. And it's important that this transition period is felt by everybody, because the last thing the team needs is to feel that what they're trying to do goes against everything that an Irish fan wants to happen as well.
Yeah. Still Bulgaria 1, Republic of Ireland 0. Ireland have made another change in the last couple of minutes. Adam Ida has just come onto the pitch. He's going to be replaced by Shane Long, who is back in the international fold and obviously be desperate to make some sort of an impact over the last 50 minutes, maybe can nick an equaliser. We've talked a bit about Ida. Has he done enough there to show that he should be back in on Sunday?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it's important that he's only 19 years of age, so it's important that you kind of protect his development psychologically as well. You don't want him. You don't want to leave him on the pitch if he's sort of running out of legs a little bit, running out of steam. You can see he's starting to get a little bit ragged, making sort of loose runs in behind the full-backs, being caught offside. So a good time to take him out.
He's kind of got to play him again on Sunday, I guess, because presumably if he started him tonight, he's thinking about starting him against Slovakia, and Slovakia is the be-all and end-all. And listen, these games are important. They have a knock-on effect for years down the line in terms of seedings and playoffs and all of that. But he's trying to build a team to go and beat Slovakia and win 2 playoff matches. It's Ida's debut. If he's going to play him against Slovakia, he needs to play him again on Sunday.
Yeah, and I think he needs to grow into that position as well. Like, I mean, going back to even what we were saying earlier, like, he needs to build a camaraderie with his teammates, and especially he needs to, as a centre forward, it's important for him to know what kind of ball or what kind of pass he's going to get from certain players. So he needs to build that connection with the players. So just getting them in tonight, I think it's a good start for him. I have to say, I think he's played very well considering he's only 19 years of age, and he's had very little in terms of football and over the last 6 months or so. So very positive signs from him. I think he'll only get better and better. It's just the big question just comes back to those players who you feel you should be getting more out of, and that's the Hendricks and the McCarthy's, Robbie Brady's. These are the guys that have the experience, you know, and they've been in the squad for such a long period of time.
The front three have all done well.
Yeah, absolutely. Aaron Connolly's been excellent.
Yeah.
Hasn't put a foot wrong. And I think O'Dowd has been excellent as well, so I completely agree. It's just what do you do with the rest?
Shot from Robbie Brady. As I said, Shane Long on. First international appearance for nearly 2 years for Shane Long. We'll take a quick break. Get your text in, 53106. We'd love to know what you think of the performance. Have we been too kind? Are we giving them a little bit too much leeway because it is the first game of the Stephen Kenny era? What have been the bright sparks? We're going to talk to John Giles as well on the full-time whistle and get his thoughts on what's been happening. Another chance, though, to enter our competition. This week, we're giving you the chance to win a luxurious overnight golf break in the Heritage. You and a guest will enjoy a safe and comfortable stay, complete with dinner at Blake's Restaurant, a round of golf for two with complimentary buggy hire, so you won't even have to walk, Stewie, on the hotel's championship golf course, and breakfast the following morning. It's a lovely spot. I've played golf there. It's a smashing golf course. In fact, I had one of my greatest ever experiences as a sports broadcaster down at the Heritage. 2007, the Seve Trophy. Do you remember the Seve Trophy?
I remember Seve Ballesteros.
Seve Trophy was a sort of mini Ryder Cup. It was sort of teed up about it. It was Great Britain and Ireland against continental Europe, and they would play it ahead of the Ryder Cup the year before, and the Ryder Cup captain would generally get involved, give him a bit of experience. So Nick Faldo was the Great Britain and Ireland captain and didn't pick any Irish players in the team whatsoever. So there was no interest in this. It was bizarre. It was height of the Celtic Tiger. 20 people turned up, I think, on the first morning. There was just such apathy towards Nick Faldo and the whole thing. The event was a bit of a disaster. Nothing to do with the golf course. Lovely golf course. Anyways, I'm down there working at it, thinking, this is the life as a golf. I'm only in this gig a few months, and I get a call saying, oh, opening night, there's a bit of a media reception down in a house off the first fairway. If you want to go down about 7 o'clock, it's a bit of a media reception. It'd be great to have you down. So I'm like, all right, I don't really know anybody at this stage. I wander down, knock on door number 2. Who opens the door? But Seve Ballesteros.
Oh, wowee. Amazing.
Senor, come in. Would you like a glass of wine? I'm like, yes, I would like a glass of wine.
What was he like? He was a great man. Gorgeous man, wasn't he?
Loveliest man. Just no airs and graces whatsoever.
Yeah.
There was, I don't know, 15, 20 journalists. There was a few officials there, and it was, I don't know, did he own the house or was it part of the deal or whatever, but he's walking around. There's a few drinks flowing and he's just relaxed and telling a few stories. And at the time, I didn't appreciate it. I thought, God, this must be what sports journalism is like.
That was 2007.
That was 2007, yeah.
And then when did he pass?
It was what, 3-4 years later?
Oh, yeah,
it was dreadfully sad.
Yeah, it was dreadfully sad.
Yeah.
He was a real presence, wasn't he?
Oh, just lit up the room. Yeah. Just lit up the room. And I thought that's what this gig was going to be all about. And here I am now.
He lit up golf. I mean, no one in golf like him that had that sort of raw aggression and
never will be.
Emotion and never will be.
Never will be. Yeah. Anyways, I went off there. Sorry, this is about the competition. You can go to the Heritage. I'm sure you'll have similar memorable experiences from the time you check in. If you want to win, though, just answer this question. Rory McIlroy announced the birth of his first child today. What is her name? Text your answer to 53106 for 30 cents. We'll announce a winner before the end of the show. And for more information, you can check out theheritage.com. 8 minutes left in Sofia. Bulgaria 1, Ireland 0. Corner kick. Doesn't find a green jersey. Falls, though, on the edge of the area to Callum Robinson, who smashes a volley about 50 yards over the top of the crossbar. We are going to take a very quick break, I think.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. More confident than United before a Europa League final. Gamble responsibly. See dunlewy.net.
Back on track with Bobby Kerr.
Back on Track is the podcast series where we find out how businesses have coped, how some have thrived, and how industries are adapting in the new COVID world.
And I'm actually amazed by the level of acceptance by the customers.
The very first day, it was like the very first day we ever opened. You're there with your heart in your mouth wondering, will anyone come in the door at all?
This is a major challenge for farming going forward.
Startups, retail, agriculture. We look far and wide at the various sectors together with some of the key people working in them.
Back on Track with Bobby Kerr.
Thanks to Bank of Ireland.
Listen to the full series now at newstalk.com or on the Newstalk app.
Do you have a TV licence? Inspectors are calling to unlicensed homes and businesses. If you don't, That can mean prosecution and a fine of up to €1,000. It's the law, so get yours at tvlicence.ie or at any post office. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Psychology, performance analysis, sports therapy and coaching all contribute to elite performance in sport. At Portobello Institute, we offer full-time and blended learning honours degrees in each of these sporting disciplines. Affordable and accessible online study, small group lectures and practicals are now enrolling at Portobello Institute. So talk to an expert about our full-time and blended learning sports degree courses at our virtual open sessions. Visit portobelloinstitute.com for details.
We've built our latest Citroën C5 Aircross SUV with more features than ever before. Travel in comfort with advanced comfort suspension, a built-in dash cam, individual rear seat, best-in-class boot space, active lane assist, road sign recognition, touchscreen display, 5-year unlimited mileage warranty. And right now, get all this and more from just €205 a month. The Citroën C5 Aircross SUV, now with 0% APR finance. Visit your nearest Citroën dealer or find out more at citroen.ie. Citroën. Finance by hire purchase. Minimum deposit 20%. Lending criteria, T's and C's apply.
If you're a business that's rebuilding after the impact of COVID-19, there's a lot to be done. Stabilising cash flow, adapting your operations, and innovating to meet new customer needs. Enterprise Ireland can help kickstart your recovery with a new funding package, which now includes up to €200,000 as a non-repayable grant. This funding is time limited, so contact our Business Response Unit to begin your application. For full information and conditions, visit enterpriseinarland.com/COVID. Supported by the Government of Ireland.
Mega laptop sale now on at Curry's PC World. Save €120 on the HP Pavilion 14-inch laptop with 256GB SSD storage, now just $539. Or get the HP Pavilion 14-inch 2-in-1 laptop with Intel Core i3 processor, now just $589. Save €100. Get in store or online now.
Three are giving business owners half-price plans until 2021. Because whether it's giving us a lift home, sorting out an emergency leak, or serving our weekly treat, these businesses have kept us going. So we're doing our bit to keep them going. Visit 3.ie/business or go in-store to switch or upgrade today and start saving. 3. Make it count. Selected plans only. Standard monthly charge applies from 2021. Minimum term required. New or upgrading customers only. See 3.ie.
The all-new OTB Sports app. It's all videos, sports news, live scores, interviews, podcasts, all waiting for you. Search OTB Sports on your app store and download now.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. A more electric team-up than Salah and Mane. Gamble responsibly. See dunlewy.net.
Still Bulgaria 1, Republic of Ireland 0. 4 minutes left in Sofia. Shane Duffy has just had a chance at corner kick. One of those Shane Duffy opportunities where he's shaking his head. He can't believe he didn't get it on target. It was a weak header in the end from Duffy.
Yeah, he's probably had to. He didn't fully come to meet it. He's probably had to check his stride a little bit, but he's big enough and he's strong enough in the air to be able to get some sort of power into it, but just misdirected it. Went the yard wide. Hasn't been the best night for him, Nathan. On reflection. Had the captain's armband. I think he was poor for the goal. He was caught himself and Egan got themselves a little bit mixed up. Far too big a gap between the two of them for the goal, and it almost invited that pass that Ivanov delivered so wonderfully well. But I think on possession and how we've approached the game and how we've played, I'd be happy enough. But ultimately, we're going to have to fix a few things that are wrong. I think there's still some big issues there, especially in midfield. There's still a question for me over James McCarthy, over Hendrick as well. So all the questions seem to be over who you think the established players are. I wonder, are they just too institutionalised into an older Irish setup? Are they going to have difficulties transitioning? I'm not too sure. But there's a lot of questions and a lot of things for Stephen Kenny to mull over. And see if he can get it right.
Yeah, there sure is. In the other game in the group, by the way, Wales have just gone in front against Finland. Kiefer Moore with the goal. in that game. Elsewhere, Germany 1-0 up against Spain. It's Ukraine leading Switzerland 2-1. Russia 3-1 up against Serbia. Hungary 1-0 up away at Turkey. 1-1 between Moldova and Kosovo. Scoreless between Slovenia and Greece. And it's 2-2 between the Faroe Islands and Malta. You're listening to Off the Ball on this Thursday evening. We'll have reaction from John Giles on the full-time whistle as well. We'll talk a lot more about that midfield, which has been the one area I know people will focus in on maybe Shane Duffy's performance, but it does feel as though a lot of that even was a result of Ireland's struggles in midfield at time, and what Stephen Kenny will do, I guess, for Sunday in that game that we're going to bring you live against Finland, because that's the last warm-up for that, one of the biggest games in the history of Irish football, which is a playoff semi-final, and the end result, a place at a European Championship in Dublin. He's going to need to get it right, and whether you react massively and make wholesale changes and try something completely different, or you think this is my midfield and I'm just going to give them another go.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got a bit of a conundrum, hasn't he? I mean,
from knowing him, what do you think?
I think he might change things. Yeah, I don't think he's going to hang around. I don't think he can afford to hang around. I mean, this is. It's not like he's come in at the start of a 2-year qualifying campaign. He's got very, very little time to get this right. He's going to have to be aggressive in his decision making, and he's going to have to be ruthless. And to be quite honest with you, I think he'd be merited in it. I mean, when you take into consideration tonight's game, Nathan, I think we've been the better team. I think I know statistically we've created more chances. We've just been let down by poor defending. Now, I don't think the defending for the goal has anything to do with the way Stephen has set up, the way he's played. I think it ultimately comes down to the players and how they organise themselves. I mean, it's just,
were we not very open? Like, have we not been very open for the first hour of the game, that when they did get the ball, there were huge gaps between midfield and defence?
There were huge gaps when the ball was 90 yards up the other end of the pitch. You know, and on this particular occasion, you know, we are set as a back four. You know, and what we've got, we just haven't done the basics right. It's very, very simple. We're
into 5 minutes of injury time.
I mean, that's the only real opportunity that Bulgaria have created in this second half. So, you know, in the past, Nathan, I've been critical of Ireland teams because we've either lost away from home and haven't played well, and there's been very little to be positive about. But I think it's different tonight. I do think we're certainly capable of playing better, especially in the second half. But let's see if we can get something out of the game, because we are still continuing to ask questions. We're still continuing to get players forward, but the changes I don't think have made a huge difference, which is probably unfortunate.
No, none of the three substitutes have really added anything. Callum Robinson there cutting in from the left-hand side in a wild shot that went miles over the top of the crossbar, and the three that started we all felt actually did quite well in Connolly, O'Dowda and Adam Ida. All did themselves the world of good. How do you think Stephen Kenny will be affected by this? Like, it's one game, but it's the first game, and there's going to be questions. Maybe he's fortunate there's no journalists at all. There's one Irish journalist in Sofia, so he's not going to be bombarded.
Yeah, I know he'll be disappointed in himself. You know, I'm sure he puts a lot of pressure on himself, and he'll obviously face criticism. There's no that just comes with the job, and he'll have to learn from that quite quickly. Maybe there may be a silver lining here in that if you're going to lose a game, let it be the first game and let it be away from home.
Now, I'm all for the new style of Stephen Kenny football, but should we not just stick Shane Duffy up front now? You know,
no.
There's some things.
Sure.
Take the good parts of the last regime. Last 5 minutes, things aren't going well. You stick Shane Duffy up front.
We've had 4 or 5. We've had 5 or 6 corners, and he hasn't been able to get on the end. We have another corner now. There's 2 minutes played into 5 minutes of time added on. So Brady's going to whip one in now.
All right, Robbie Brady with the corner kick. Can Duffy get up? He can. Shane Duffy scores! He called it! He called it! Ireland have equalised. Shane Duffy has done it again. The corner kick from Robbie Brady, and Duffy, well, he was almost falling backwards and managed to head down, and Ireland have got their equaliser in injury time, and it is Captain Fantastic Shane Duffy who has done it, and a big old smile on the face of Stephen Kenny. And we can talk about a new era, we can talk about a new style, more progressive, but the old set piece, Shane Duffy's big old dairy head, smashing it into the back of the net.
On the back foot as well, Nathan. It wasn't like he was attacking it. He'd actually gone forward and he was stepping back. Bulgaria, no one on either post, actually. Keeper was poor as well, but it doesn't matter. It's a hell of a header. His reaction is very interesting, Nathan. Didn't really celebrate too much. I think that's a signal to him, probably to himself, that hasn't been the greatest night in the world for him, but To be fair to him, and I think it's something he did in the Euros as well, he has the ability to respond and take, when he hasn't played well, he can pick himself up and be honest. But it's no more than what they deserve, Nathan, to be quite honest with you. So,
yeah, it is certainly a
I'll
deserved
take 1-1 with a good away performance.
And, well, you called 1-1 before the game as well, Stewie. A fourth international goal for Shane Duffy. We did say he was Ireland's top scorer. And maybe as well, the way he celebrated, or lack of celebration, shows the attitude of the Irish players, who really sense you feel they can go and win this game in the last couple of minutes of added time. That goal coming in the 92nd minute. And whereas we saw, I think previously, Ireland would celebrate that, they feel that maybe they have Bulgaria on the ropes here. If they can create one more chance, maybe Ireland can steal a victory. But that came from beautiful delivery from Robbie Brady with the corner kick from the left-hand side, and Shane Duffy has done it again. What a threat he is. And that is something Stephen Kenny has never shied away from, that he wants his teams to be very well organised as well from set pieces, both defensively and to take advantage in an attacking sense. And that is exactly what Ireland needed. And I think, as you touched on, Stewie, it's very much what Ireland have deserved. Bulgaria, no great shakes, had that one chance. I've had a couple of openings on the counter-attack, but by and large, Ireland have been the better side and have created more chances. And the keeper comes out and just goes straight into Robbie Brady. And, well, this referee was always going to give a free kick for that. And we're into the final 30 seconds, and that may be that. But that is going to change the narrative around this completely heading into Sunday.
We've got young players in that squad, and confidence is a big thing. And I think it's important that we want Stephen to get off to a good start. We want to kind of regenerate this confidence around the squad. And I don't care how we do it, as long as we do it. But you have to say, on the balance of play, how we played, you'll see the possession figures when this comes out. We have more possession, we've created more opportunities. We're away from home, so there's no more than we deserve. Having another look at the goal again, it's a hell of a header from Duffy, I have to say. Keeper was poor, but we'll take it.
The more things change, the more they stay the same for the Republic of Ireland. 1-1 away from home and a late equaliser from Shane Duffy. It feels like that has been Irish football for the last decade. It feels like Shane Duffy scored about 20 goals for Ireland at this stage.
Well, he probably has, is he? In training?
Yeah, I'm sure he has. I know from interviewing him after matches, he certainly feels like he should have a lot more games and goals than that. So we're into the final minute of injury time. This is probably going to be the last. It's a free kick to Bulgaria inside their own area. And they're taking all the time because I think they know they've been sort of flat.
I think it's important as well, Nathan, that the narrative doesn't change, that we don't focus too much on the fact that we've gotten a late goal from a set piece and we've gotten out of jail. I don't see it that way at all. I genuinely don't. I see as we've been punished for a mistake that we've made defensively when we shouldn't have done it. I mean, it was very basic defending, schoolboy defending from my point of view, something that shouldn't really happen. But ultimately, I think we've shown that we're definitely going to be a progressive team and play a much more expansive football.
Full-time whistle goes. Bulgaria 1, Republic of Ireland 1, just as Ireland were attacking down the left-hand side. But, yes, we've seen this before. 1-1, away from home. Shane Duffy, late equaliser. We're going to take a very quick break and then we're going to get analysis from Stuey Byrne and John Giles.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. More confident than United before a Europa League final. Gamble responsibly. See dunlewy.net.
Now that we emerge, will we rise? We rise when we champion, when we create, and when we care. So let's lift each other. Let's lift Ireland. Choose to support local businesses, makers, creativity and communities. Choose to champion green. Pledge your support today at championgreen.ie. Support local to lift us all. Supported by Kilkenny Design and Visa in association with Retail Excellence, Small Firms Association and Chambers Ireland.
When it comes to a burst pipe, a phone is the best tool to sort it. Just ring Liberty Insurance. Their 24-hour emergency home repair service has me covered without affecting my no-claims bonus. Switch now and get up to 5 weeks free on libertyinsurance.ie. Liberty Insurance. Ready for the real world.
Cover for up to €260 per call-out, maximum 4 call-outs per year. 5 weeks free applies to new home policies only and equals a 10% discount. Maximum discount of €40 for buildings, €15 for contents and €55 for buildings and contents combined. Subject to minimum premiums and applied before optional covers. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. Liberty Seguros, Compañía de Seguros, Araya Seguros, S.A.A. trading as Liberty Insurance is authorised by the General Director of Insurance and Pension Funds in Spain and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland for conduct of business rules.
Book your next relaxing staycation at The Heritage, located just off the M7 close to Kildare Village in Killinard, County Laois. Indulge in a day of relaxation at one of Ireland's leading spas with treatments from Spa and Voya. Enjoy a classic movie night in our in-house cinema or a scenic stroll along our picturesque walking trail. The Heritage, your own kind of perfect. Discover more at theheritage.com.
This place has borne witness to the birth and rebirth of our nation, to the triumphs and tribulations that have made us what we are today. This place is where our finest writers, thinkers, and entertainers have found their words read and their voices heard, and where countless generations have come to learn, to discover, to read, and be inspired. This place is Eason, Ireland's favourite bookseller since 1886, inspiring and engaging minds of all ages through the best of times, the worst of times, and as we face the next chapter together for all our times to come. So join us in store at your local Eason or online at easons.com. Eason, be inspired.
The all-new OTB Sports app. It's all videos, sports news, live scores, interviews, podcasts, all waiting for you. Search OTB Sports on your app store and download now.
Stay connected with totally unlimited broadband from Air for just $29.99 a month for 6 months. Sign up today and keep the whole family entertained with amazing content from Amazon Prime Video on us for a whole year. Plus, you'll get the Air Sport Pack free. For more on this amazing offer, why not drop into one of our stores or visit air.ie. Air. Let's make possible. New customers only. $29.99 a month for 6 months. $49.99 a month thereafter. 12-month contract. Subject to availability. Bundle activation fee may apply. Full details and terms see air.ie/Prime Video.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power, as obnoxiously passionate about soccer as Frank Lampard after the final whistle. Gamble responsibly. See dunlewy.net.
All right, so Shane Duffy has done it yet again. He has rescued a point for the Republic of Ireland in Sofia. Bulgaria won, the Republic of Ireland won, and the Stephen Kenny era, well, very much like every other era. We get our set-piece goal, we get our point, and we move on. But was it different in the previous 90 minutes before that injury time equaliser? John Giles is on the line with us and Stuey Byrne is in studio. John, was that different to previous 1-1 draws that we've seen a million times before?
No, not really. Not really, Nathan. No. I thought, well, funny enough, the goal we gave away was unusual because the two centre-backs, Duffy and Egan, are usually very, very good, and we haven't given away really easy goals. That was an easy one tonight. Duffy, I think, particularly was caught out in a position which left a big gap for the Bulgarian player to go through. So that's most unusual. What is usual is Duffy coming up to save the day from the great header. There's no doubt about that. I think we didn't deserve to be beaten, Nathan, that's for sure. It wasn't a great game by any means. It wasn't two great sides by any means. But I don't think we deserve to be beaten, and I think it was a just result in the end.
Stephen Kenny only has the 2 games before that huge match in the playoff against Slovakia. Who are the players that tonight he'll have looked at and thought, yeah, you can do a job for me in that match, who've really played themselves into his thoughts for the big game coming up?
To be honest now, Nathan, I can't think of anybody that did that tonight.
Right. You were. I know you were talking up Callum O'Dowda at half-time.
Yeah, and then he had a poor second half. He was substituted. So I can't say there was anybody outstanding really for the Irish for our lads.
Right.
Tonight, they kept going. There was a good attitude from them, no doubt about that. And they all did their best and worked hard for it. But I couldn't pick out a player where you could say, well, he definitely had a blinder tonight.
And did you look at that performance and think that was different to what we saw under Mick McCarthy and Martin O'Neill?
Not really.
Right.
Not really. No.
Was there an attempt to do it?
I think the intention was there to have more freedom and go for it, but we didn't have the class. We just didn't have the class to do it.
Can Stephen Kenny set them up in a way that we do have the class, or like the players just underperform, or actually would you have concerns that we're not going to have the players to play the style he wants to play?
Well, I don't know what style he wants to play. I don't think there's a particular style about it. It's again, when you put the players out on the pitch, it's up to the players to do it. You can talk as much as you like and have all the theory that you want about going out to play. This is the way we're going to play. But once the players go out on the pitch, then they have to do it. And I'd say that Stephen would be happy with the result at the end, but I don't think he'd be happy with the way that the team played, or certainly in the way he wanted them to play. And that has nothing to do with tactics or anything. That was just the players themselves on the day, not using the ball well enough and giving it away at times, a good few times. So I'd say I'd be happy with the result without being happy with the performance.
Yeah. The front three were all three young players, quite inexperienced, even Callum O'Dowda alongside Adam Ida and Aaron Connolly, probably reasonably satisfied with their night's work and will take a lot from it. The midfield, though, and that midfield three of James McCarthy, Conor Howard and Jeff Hendrick, who are far more experienced, they seemed again to struggle to command that midfield and to really set a good tempo for Ireland. Why do you think that was?
Well, there was no reason for it. They just didn't do it, Nathan. You know, I thought the two lads. I thought Connolly was good. He was game. Ida was game as well, without getting much. He didn't get much supply to do it well. But you know, and usually that comes from the midfield. That's what midfield players are supposed to do, which is create opportunities for the lads up front. And to be fair to the lads up front, they didn't really get a really good supply of the ball to do their stuff. So it was difficult. If you're not going to play well in midfield, Nathan, it's very, very difficult for the team to play well.
Yeah, a lot of the attention, I suspect, will focus around James McCarthy, considering the way Stephen Kenny had talked him up. He was taken off. He was the first player taken off. Maybe there's fitness issues in there as well. But if we thought he was going to be this commanding midfield presence, there was very little sign of that tonight.
Well, again, I don't want to be too harsh on him now, but I've never seen a commanding presence from McCarthy over the years, ever. I've never seen him as a player that gets a grip of the game. You know, he gets the ball from A to B, and as I said at half-time, a lot in the first half, pointing here, pointing there, and I don't think that's ever a good sign for any player, but particularly a midfield player. He's better getting the ball himself and doing something about it. And again, I know he's had a bad injury, and it's good to have him back, and I don't want to be too harsh on him, but I have to say it as I see it, and again, I don't see him making a pass tonight.
Yeah.
That was, you could say, well, he laid that on for the forwards or made it easy for the two lads up front at all.
So what then should Stephen Kenny do for the game on Sunday against Finland, which is the last match ahead of that playoff? Do you go with the same midfield three and give them that 90 minutes on the pitch together again and hope that it settles? Or actually, does he need to react to tonight and give somebody else an opportunity?
Well, I'd put Brady in. I think Brady did better now. I think he can play. But to be honest, Nathan, we don't have anybody outstanding that you could say, well, he's got to come in from the bench. You know, we just don't have that many players to do it. And it's a question of trying to get the best from, and that's all any manager for the players at his disposal. But you know, we don't have a Xavi or any of these great players that's going to come in the middle of the field.
Yeah, we certainly don't have that. It was interesting pre-match. I was on about maybe a more attacking style of football, and you were making the point of, well, it's not one or the other, that you have to do both. It did feel at times tonight like we struggled to do both, that yes, Ireland, particularly in the first half, committed a lot more men forward into the Bulgarian half of the pitch and had a lot of players in and around their area. But then when they lost the ball, Bulgaria flew forward and Ireland were totally outnumbered on the counter-attack. Is that something that Stephen Kenny should be able to fix quite quickly, or would you worry that actually we are going to struggle to get that balance between being more attacking but also being so solid at the back as we've been over recent years?
Yeah, but Nathan, you saying there, they hit us on the counter-attack, mainly because we gave the ball away. And you can't legislate for that. As a manager and coach, you cannot legislate for players giving the ball away. You know, you can't say, well, you stay back there in case he gives the ball away, because then he's a bigger chance of giving the ball away. So that's how the players who are on the pitch, that's their ability not to give the ball away. The manager can only do so much. The manager can only say, this is what I'd like you to do, I want you to do, I certainly like you to do, but it's up to the players to do it. And if they don't do it, then there's nothing the manager can do about it. You know, if you have, I think I said before, if you've got 11 great players and you tell them to go out and do this, they do it. They don't give the ball away to be caught on the counter-attack. But we don't have that quality of player. So you can encourage them to do the things that you want them to do, but it doesn't mean they're going to do them.
What about that big decision he made to drop Seamus Coleman and bring Matt Doherty in? Was that vindicated?
No, it wasn't significant in the match.
Right.
You know, Doherty did okay. He didn't make any mistakes. He didn't do anything fantastic. He didn't do anything that Seamus Coleman wouldn't do. And what he did, or what Seamus Coleman could have done, would not have been any significance at all to the way the team played, in my opinion, or the result.
Coleman obviously is the captain and always comes across as a real leader and very vocal on the pitch. Did they miss that maybe in terms of being organised defensively? Because it did seem as though Ireland were a bit more open than we've seen in recent times.
Well, we were caught for the goal. I think Duffy and Keane between them got cut out. But again, you know, there's nothing Seamus Coleman could do about that, or Doherty for that matter. You know, you can't. You can encourage people and you can do certain things by example, Nathan, as captain. You know, I honestly think sometimes that the role of captain is a bit exaggerated, because the main thing as a captain, what you do is play well yourself, and that inspires people around you. It's no good shouting and bawling if you're not doing your own stuff. But I don't think Seamus Coleman on the night would have made any difference at all.
Yeah, we'll talk a lot more next Thursday night when we have the Finland game to look back on as well, John. But from listening to you, nothing too much to read into this game. That first match for Stephen Kenny, no great signs of radical change?
No, I wouldn't have expected radical change anyway, Nathan. What it showed is what we've had in the past, a good spirit about the lads, and a game enough to come back into it, and scored in the last minute again. It means you've kept going, you haven't packed it in, and got what was a just reward, in my opinion, in the end, for over the 90 odd minutes. All
right, John, great stuff. Thanks a lot for taking the call.
Thanks, Nathan.
John Giles there, as always. Stuey Byrne's been alongside me in the studio all evening. We're going to be at the Aviva Stadium on Sunday, full live commentary of the Republic of Ireland against Finland, his first home game in charge, and he's going to have a lot to go through over the next couple of days, because as John says, there were issues there. There was the defensive lapses, and they had chances, and they were quite open chances, and obviously the goal. Are they things that you just put down to individual errors, or is there actually a worry, as I'm saying, that if we are going to be a more attacking force and we're going to commit more men forward, that actually that exposes some of the weaknesses that maybe we have defensively when we're not just sitting back in the edge of our area?
Yeah, I think the goal you can put down to individual errors. I totally agree. I don't think we were caught by any sort of quality Bulgarian counter-attack. I think we just weren't set right the way you would expect your normal back four or back three, or even your two centre halves to be set right in that particular build-up of play. So if I could read someone's mind, I would say Shane Duffy knew that. I mean, we just even saw him.
Yeah, he looked absolutely disgusted when he was walking
even
off
Randolph coming off the pitch. He knows he got caught in himself, and I think, to be fair to him, I think he's honest enough to accept that. The breakaway chances that Bulgaria had, probably especially in the first half, I can live with, because if you're trying to play a bit more expansive football yourself, they're the risks you're going to have to take. I think you can improve on correcting them, but that's a progress. That's something that we're going to have to work on very hard. I see improvement in the game. I think there's better intent from this Ireland team. That's all I wanted to see tonight, was the intent. Are we looking to try different things? Are we looking to play a predominantly possession-based game? I think we are. I think we can only get better at it. Unfortunately, Nathan, we just don't have that kind of time you would love to have to make this really, really work, to give it every opportunity. So a lot of it is going to have to come down to the management and the key decisions they make in key positions, and the rest is going to have to come down to the players. Simple as that.
Yeah, and we shall see how they respond on Sunday. You called it, Stewie, a 1-1 draw. The easiest prediction in football for the Republic of Ireland away from home. We'll have lots more analysis on otbsports.com throughout the evening, reaction from Sophia, and then OTB AM live from 7:30 tomorrow morning. Kenny Cunningham, Matt Holland and Alan Quinlan on the show with Owen and Adrian. And then tomorrow night at 7, we'll have more reaction to tonight's result, and we'll be building up to Leinster against Munster as well. And we'll have up-and-coming jockey Gavin Ryan on Friday Night Racing. Tom Dunn is up next. So, Stephen Kenny starts with that traditional 1-1 draw. It finished Bulgaria 1, Republic of Ireland 1. Good luck.
Give him a ball and he out of grass. He'll give you a move for the perfect pass. Give him a ball and he out of space. He'll give you a move with godly grace. Rat-tat-tat.